Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. We are in Iceland, and this is the third message. I don't know how many of you have felt it, but the land is greeting you. The land is greeting you. You felt it out on the glacier. You sit on this cliff overlooking the black sand beach, the lagoon, and a triad of rocks that some say are mythological trolls. This is a beautiful land where spirit has a voice and where so many things will speak to you in so many ways if you allow it. Yes, it's chilly, but it doesn't really matter because the energy of this place flows into you. This is only the third day. And in a while you'll come to expect it. Around every turn, the majesty of what is truly there as it starts to speak to you and say, welcome. We're going to talk about the letter C in Iceland. We've spoken of the letter I. And that C, as almost all of you might know, is consciousness. And I have spoken of this so many times, and I'm going to do it again. A summary, a synopsis, perhaps of one of the most important things that has happened in the last 15 years. Consciousness is not well defined. There is no definition that encompasses truly what it means. How would you define it? Some say it's an awareness. Well, now that's the A that comes later, dear ones. The C of consciousness is so much bigger than the act of knowing yourself. So much bigger. For instance, if you had the consciousness of the planet, what would that look like? Some would say, well, Kryon, there cannot be a consciousness of a thing. It must be alive. This land is alive. So there is energy in consciousness, as I'll describe in a moment. If you have a group of low consciousness individuals, they are not thinking in a way that's benevolent. That is a level of consciousness, all part of the definition. If you have a group of high consciousness individuals, you have benevolence, kindness, and compassion. So you see, consciousness is more than just being self-aware. It has levels. It has different meanings. But oh, that's not what has been discovered, dear ones. Those of you listening to this, and many of you who are here, have been in the esoteric world for a long time. And you know that over and over, there have been attempts to describe what consciousness can do. Many will roll their eyes and say, you mean you can think good things and then things will happen somewhere else in the planet? They'll say, how trite of you. How silly to think such a thing. I would like to tell you, if you have not heard this, just briefly, that in the last 15 years, science has discovered what consciousness can do. Still, it is not defined well, but it can do so much, more than they ever thought. Science, the Global Consciousness Project in the 90s, proved absolutely with Princeton University that a majority of conscious human beings thinking the same thing or having the same experience at a certain moment changes the structure of reality on the planet. It does. They were helped along by 9/11. where billions of individuals all had the same vision, all had the same compassions at the same time, and the structure of random numbers, even mathematics, shifted just for a moment. Dear ones, I want you to think about that. Because suddenly, consciousness of a mass amount of people changed the dimension you were in. Now this is still being debated because there are those who said you got it wrong, it couldn't have happened. And yet they have seen it other times. They saw it in the death of Princess Di. They saw it when the 33 miners came out of the ground in joy, celebration. The HeartMath Institute showed that consciousness actually alters the magnetic grid of the planet. I tell you these two things for one reason. Now you know what some of you have believed all along. And now you know what we teach, and that consciousness is energy. And because it is energy, all of the rules of anything classified as energy will apply. Can you then measure it? What would you do with it now that you know it's real and it can change physics? And the answer is you're going to start to measure what happens when people come together. Enter another term called coherence. For now, those same scientists are starting to study what happens when two groups of individuals marry their consciousness and become coherent with one another. Could they change something elsewhere in the planet if they are together in a coherent state? And the answer is yes. I just gave you one of the biggest discoveries of the century. That if you're esoterically minded, everything you have felt about consciousness is true, accurate, measurable, scientific, and it lays there ready for you to use it. Some of you will use it within your own bodies, knowing that your consciousness can send energy to your cellular structure. Others of you will gather together and say, if this is true, we can soothe the fear on the planet at this moment. I want you to see something that hasn't happened yet. It's in the field. I want you to see the end of fear, of the pandemic, of the flu that is spreading this planet. I want you to see smiles. I want you to see those coming back to work and schools opening. I want you to see the economy improving and breathing a sigh of relief because it's over. This is in the field, and dear ones, hearing this, if you can do this, you'll help create it. You'll help make it happen sooner, for it will happen. And here you are in a creative attitude, powerful, knowing what consciousness really is. That's the C in Iceland for today. Perhaps the most powerful letter yet, perhaps the most powerful thing that has ever happened in esoteric. This is a tool, dear ones. It'll extend your life. It can heal your body. It can make others understand and feel better about themselves. Use it. Use it. And so it is.